Right, so Star Wars The Clone Wars has been effectively cancelled, thrown away. My thoughts on this as a fan: I'm very disappointed in Disney. We all are. Yeah, it's just a TV series, but still, this is something so many people have loved for such a long time in terms of TV. 5 years is a long time, and yet they still had so much more to tell. We see that we are still going to get something, we just don't know in what format, what delivery that will be, but all we know is it will not be a continuation of the Clone Wars as a TV series. This is not the first thing that Disney has pulled out from under us, Star Wars fans. They've taken 3D releases. They have indefinitely postponed Star Wars 1313. Star Wars Detours appears to be all but gone now as well. So we're going to get 3 more movies. Great. But if we have to go through another dark period of no Star Wars to achieve that, and we don't even know if they will respect the story we so love, if they will take into account the great additions that have been made over time in the expanded universe, if they will just plough over everything we know to create their own story. The trade-off is not worth it. I think of Yoda's words: fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. So, we've had the fear. Disney purchased Lucasfilm, LucasArts. They own Star Wars now. We feared for what might come, and that fear was not misplaced. This has led to anger on many people's part, though not as many as some media outlets might make you think from the pieces they have written. The campaigns have been mostly polite and an expression of love towards the Clone Wars and these other properties, rather than the dark side path of hatred to Disney. But that hatred element has grown as fear has grown. And so the fear has led to anger. The anger moved on to hatred. All that's left is the suffering. But Yoda never said who the suffering was for. The person who takes the dark path, or the people around him. And in truth, it is everybody. So, as a Star Wars fan, I do hope that others will continue to support the Star Wars people and continue in their love of Star Wars. And yet, if Disney continues the way they have so far, it'll be their dark path that leads to our suffering as well as theirs. It might sound like an overstatement, but if they continue what they are doing, they will lose all the Star Wars fans. And not only will that cost us something we hold dear, but it will cost them the $4 billion that it cost to purchase the great franchise. It will also cost them the trust of many fans and all the effort, time and money they put into these new movies. So to everyone who has put their all in these soon-to-be wound up and shelved Star Wars stories, thank you. Thank you for what you have done, even if we may not ever get to see everything they were meant to be. Thank you. And to my fellow Star Wars fans, we have a choice to make. Do we continue to show our love and support for Star Wars? And by that, I do not mean blindly following whatever Disney does, but truly standing for what we believe in should be the future of Star Wars. What we believe goes right by the story, by the playground we all share that George Lucas built for us. Or do we throw a fit like an angry young Anakin Skywalker? Do we follow his steps down the dark path? Do we let anger and hatred rule our response? We cannot force Disney to do things our way, to do what we want. We can only control how we respond to that. So will you do what is expected of us and fall to the dark side through nerd rage? Or will you do what is right